I have to ask, can people hear me if I don't use the mic?
Yeah.
Yeah, the reason is that I have a cold and I think I wouldn't be doing the world a favor if I did. Oh, Sean, that was such a great reading. You are a tough act to follow. And I so look forward to reading with Jim because Jim and I have known each other more than 30 years, have hosted readings for each other, and have never read together until tonight. And imagine such a thing. Well, okay. I'm going to read from an Internet of Containment, and because this is a story told in poetry, I'm going to ask that, much as I love applause, you might want to hold it in between the poems because they flow from each other. So this book is a science fiction story told in surrealist poetry, and it deals with what happens after the Earth becomes uninhabitable and the vast majority of the population leaves to evolve to something post-human. And there are some poor saps who stay home and end up wishing they hadn't. Innocence like a sewing machine. Humans are turning to metal without knowing it. The Tower of Babel throws its shadow to one side. We conceive decision as a form of titanium, flat out iridescent. Our planted seeds come up lanterns, 1 meter stick measuring all the world's water. An army of shadows need only inspired doubt. Cannon takes on innocence like a sewing machine. Our pathway through the sun comes and goes. On its far side, a judgment of blue cranes, when the sea looks magic like an angled sail, or a rock painting of the future, primary colors topped with one blind eye, a vision of sunrise without language. So can you still all hear me okay?
Yeah.
You can see the equator. We take off like a goat's leap, outward spiral threading around Earth, our blended directions humming a high spin of wire, not a myth but golden. You can see the equator. Death rides next to us with a scent of explosive. Geometric forces bridge the air. As Earth's right brain surfaces from the Pacific, an icebox in open water, an absence of cold, our foredeck patterned on deconstruction. From here, the aurora has changed color, purple bronze like a pheasant crossing a lawn. Losing our ambitions, leaving only the pointed stars we used to map them, winning a flight at near light speed through an optical flicker of sunsets. Sun as parasol, as container. Beyond the asteroid belt, the sun reshapes itself. It should shrink with distance, but here it unfurls into a yellow parasol. Jupiter monitors our approach with its one eye. This is a paradox. The sun is sun protection. What do we renounce and what do we keep? We edit our vision remorselessly. From Jupiter to Chiron, we steer a course to the rim of the sun's yellow bowl. So as you might guess, as they approach the edge of the solar system, they start to get more and more squirrely and more paranoid. And leaving the spaceship becomes more and more of a temptation. How to map your way out of a jar. Make it linear, but not too obvious, accepting the more efficient lineation of crow flight. There are no crows in free fall. Black the cosmos, blacker than wings jammed in space. Wear a broad-brimmed hat and carry water. Check your GPS reading. The outer planets have no corresponding coordinates, leaving the reading open to interpretation. Bypass chasms and floodwaters. Wear shoes that can carry you up a glass wall. Carry bear bells and ring them like a low-rent Christmas. You are Ursa Major's equivalent of a ham sandwich. Check your compass reading. The outer planets have no magnetic north. See instructions for interpreting your GPS reading. Avoid hallucinatory people who appear out of nowhere carrying maps. They may introduce themselves as Orion or Gemini, but they are the ultimate bad company. The jar lid could present difficulties, so bring an all-purpose tool to open it from inside. Question the wisdom of what you're doing. Your terrified jar is traveling through a vacuum at breakneck speed. So some highly significant time goes by, and these post-humans start to evolve in different directions. I won't read the part with the exoskeletons, but I will read from the dematerialization section, which drove me especially nuts to write. This one particular group decides that they're going to gradually evolve from 3 dimensions into 2, into complete immateriality, and then upload themselves to a shared information database. And I know that there are actually theoretical attempts to do this. These people get a lot more than theoretical. Mittens. Mittens don't exist except to contain hearts. All anatomic structures have something noisy inside. Gear system in liquid like a bloody skateboard. At its breakdown, the quiet of 0 degrees. Even china dogs on mantelpieces are hollow. A ceramic vacuum is still a container. Its inability to bark a dead giveaway, but its emptiness could fill a fireplace, or define the fireplace with a square footprint. The hand holding a donor organ drops it on the floor. A latex glove is never the same after it comes off. Abstracted hand still qualifying as cargo. A theory shaped like a claw. When they say formula, they mean species memory. The word may have meant something different before. Stern grievance of matter, dried hard to the base of a bowl. Formula means a way of remembering ourselves as massive. Memory is something we keep in the atmosphere. Our 2-dimensional cells recognize gravity as an abstraction, a theory shaped like a claw. Celadon. My last color, continuum celadon, angled almost past seeing. No longer a furred shade of brindle, steady leech over millennia. Celadon, the final, this morning, shading out of sight. 1,000 years to refine understatement. Celadon, my last stop. Celadon, end of the color trail. Passing through this shade, continuum, I wean myself invisible, a final outline of cold light. A stack of ideas is not a stack in 2 dimensions. When did we stop eating? When did the kitchen become theory? We evolved to a stack of ideas, a library of abstracts. The kitchen folds in on itself, develops thought patterns, elaborating a performance concept of jewels, facet alluded to as footprint. We watch the spectacle as our bones dissolve on radioactive wind. Every particle speeds through us glowing. Is that God out there spinning like a starfish? Artifact. Preparing to upload, we inherit layers of memory for storage, textures we don't recognize, the tripwire that tells an orange when to set fruit, a signal to migrant birds, you and I circling in a cold glass globe, artifact of a place on a map. Could we move south, leaving it in the wind? Hollow ringing from a planet not ours, insideness of meteor. We inherit skin as a layer brushed on ceramic. Senses maintain themselves in the jerky way of old movies. There is no south, backtracking to a place of sky, sand, clay bowls. Everything keeps the tailing of stars. Upload. Upload me, hot brick in an engineered summer. Contain me in the pond, a vision out of William Blake. The pond, water of gratified desire. Upload me to a place of art or meditation, but no one will look like me. Looking has become an archaeological hazard. Is the pond a nebula? Are they the same? Visual sideline as quotation, its color beside the point. With mine own self commune. The pond is theoretical, but we swim in it. At the center, an unfathomable drop. Swimming is reasoning, and everybody knows that or ought to. Abstraction colder than Walden. Whatever swimming is when there's no liquid to fill you, even if you're still physical. Color and gravity, retro descriptors of each other. Everything that mirrors is water, and all water a mirror. Storage resonates with eternity. Critical mass, repeat, self-replication, repeat, contain, repeat, contain. Is this the formula for glory? Else. Contain yourself in a twist of starlight. Your nature codes for infinite flexion. Contain yourself in a thrust of racing fuel. Study propulsion as if it were a gentle force. Contain yourself in a contrail. Your name erases itself across a vacuum. Contain yourself in a route that drills for groundwater. Else, your upload will blow to pieces in solar wind. Harsh grating of wheels catching in a field. Hard luck summer shot with dust. A string quartet playing a waltz. You're useless and last for some reason. Memory. Well, so we can't leave these poor people entirely immaterial. There's got to be somebody who bucks the tide. Reasons to cheat the upload. The lure of abstraction stretched lusciously across evolutionary time versus 3D sensuality, well documented in the database, that be-all and end-all of information sharing. What are senses to an abstract human with an internal web browser? What does memory mean when everyone blends into universal storage? Wait a minute, she thinks. What am I trading, she thinks, and for what? Already she has nothing left to speak with. The concept of thought, she reminds herself, is purest ecstasy, pinnacle, absolute zero. With her cohort preparing to upload themselves, she wants to outload. If she lets her focus go at the critical moment, her upload won't work, and she will have cheated 1,000 years of science. She wants and achieves the out. She leaves the upload pond like a fish in space. Her signals disperse across a band of fox-colored light, vanish around a flowered orbit for what might be years or seconds. She puts out her hand in the dark. She's mostly information, and darkness is only a color, her hand scarcely there. Lively of conjecture, growing a long-legged brain, she closes her hand on something rough. Her signals tell her stone or clay. Being an outlier means catching things in the dark. She emerges as a search engine. The language of upload sloughs off unexpectedly, coins melting in a solar flare. She emerges as something besides memory, something private. Consulting the database, she finds private stored under obsolescence, books thrown word by word from a shredder. A long time ago, billions of people died. Searching people and death, she learns enough to think about all morning. Vantage point for the waterfront massacre. Then she searches under storage. Evidence for a nuclear cruise ship. Next, she looks up containment and discovers that they need not be the same. A broken jar is still a jar. compass rose. Compass rose, damask, moss. A shape like a boat, a color like blue. She sits in the center, listening to a nursery rhyme about sleep, extending into 32 petals. A shape like a mortar, a vessel for grinding corn, but it crosses galaxies. She sits in the center with her compass rose, fragrant yellow. Also called a wind rose, but space-time has no wind. Godspeed the year of re-entry with sea monsters and English horns. Time falls away, leaving only direction. A lullaby played backward gives her coordinates, X, Y, and Z. Slow handout of secrets and free champagne from the serene fountain. House with scavenger brain. Well, I will mention, since I haven't read the section about what happens on Earth, that in her quest for a place to land as she materializes, she touches down on Earth and Earth won't have her because Earth will no longer have us. House with scavenger brain. A house rears up at her from a metal surface, its panther feet of a stealth bomber. This house holds no possibility of warmth or interpretation, contains an entire capital of refusal. The house will eat her on entry. Its brain identifies scavenger with avenger. She researches the laws of science, finds them constantly assailed. The house lingers. The house breathes in. It has no door because it doesn't need one. Black paper like silk. A practice of wrapping houses in black paper so they look under chimneys burning. Like watered silk to clothe a woman searching the dark with diodes, rectangle on fire. The lack of chemical residue tells her something is going on that she can't be part of, as paint is to corner, mapped outline of a lost archipelago. If she hadn't missed the beginning, she might have shifted into a new species in which she wasn't the only one, as all things have their flashpoint. What temperature blazes brick? The softest crepe paper, the kind they used for streamers. Its thin blue whisper, a suspicion of smoke. An internet of things contained. She tries to form an internet of containment, but this place wants to be rid of her. The air tastes like a box of grave dirt. Consulting the database, she finds grave dirt stored under anxiety. She recognizes the taste as unforgiveness and knows she's been here before. Her skin creeps. She never used to have skin. Ancestral memory identifies the creep as terror. Imagined grassland provides only an abstract cover. Her body is an empty shell dropped on a plate. She still weighs less than an electrical charge. A phosphorus trail of dread follows her like a thread in a labyrinth. I'm going to read one more. Before I do that, I should mention that I do have books for sale. Her compass rose blackens. As she thickens into substance, her passage through the universe breaks down in difficulty. She feels herself clotting, blood trapped in an artery. Her compass rose blackens around a gold center, its 32 petals rigid with no trace of wind. Is it guiding her or warning her to stop? She finds herself tattooed with nerve endings and needing to eat for the first time ever. Direction falls away, leaving only mass. Where is her crystalline acre? She knows she's female. Her skin assembles into a topping like pepperoni or hot fudge. In her ancestral memory, she's tasted both. Being an outlier means feeding herself in the dark. Thank you.
Oh, wow.